This conference will now be recorded.
Great. Is the floor mine?
It is. Over to
Yes.
you.
Fantastic. Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for having me, everybody. I hope you do enjoy your lunches. Quick introduction. My name is Paul. I've seen many of you at plenty of the ICG summer parties, various lunch and learn. So it's great to be here with you. I'm not going to explain too much about what Qualzy does because a lot of you already know about us and know that we are an online community platform that is mobile ready, mobile first. And today I want to talk really specifically about how we have implemented generative AI into our platform to streamline research for you. And really, we've done this in three core areas. So in project design, in project moderation and analysis. So what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you guys, and I'm going to try and do this all as quickly as I can so that there's plenty of time for discussion and questions. I'm just going to show you what we've built in the platform, what is live today, what some of our clients are already using, and hopefully will spark some healthy debate. I know everybody's quite interested in the generative AI stuff at the moment. So let's see if I can change slides and talk to you at first about what we have called the Qualzy playground. You can see here on the right hand side, I'm actually using some slides here. I'm not doing this live because it's easier for me to just show you this. I'm going to do everything else live. You can see that we have a chat GPT virtual assistant built into the Qualzy platform. So when you are building and designing your projects, maybe even thinking about writing your brief, you're able to query the system on the approach that you're going to take. So I'm running a project here on electric car ownership, and the system has told me, yes, I understand you're doing something about car ownership, and so this is where it all starts. So let's just ask the system for a project introduction. So that's a great place to start at the beginning of a project, and the system has generated some text which I can use there to put into my introduction. I'm going to add in an image there. That's just an image, I'm afraid. It's not AI generated, but if you wanted, you could go off to Midjourney or to DALL-E and create your own crazy images. I was just happy to find a picture of a Porsche and a Tesla next to each other, and so I used those. So we've got our project introduction sorted. That's nice and easy. I've not had to think about that. I've not had to think too much about what I want to say. And so let's dive into generating some topic areas to look at with this this audience of electric car owners. And so the first thing really is to take a bit of a step back and ask the system, what are the topic areas that I might like to research? I'm also just going to say that I want the participants to introduce themselves at the start of the project with a video. So I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a brief. I'm not giving it too much information. And one of the things that is important to note here is we don't think that this in any way replaces the need for human moderators, human researchers. It isn't going to give you any information that you couldn't have come up with yourself. It's not going to write any questions that you couldn't have written yourself, but it might help you get there a little bit faster. And so what we are providing is really an assist, a leg up or a power up in designing your research. So you can see here it's given us some topic areas that we could look at. So we could look at charging infrastructure, driving range and battery, the environmental impact, the cost and incentives, and the performance and user experience. Now, it's worth just saying at the outset, because I know that this is going to be the hot question, is this data being used to train the AI model? No, not at all. So none of the data that is generated within the Qualzy platform. Any of the data that is sent to OpenAI is used to train the model. We have a API developer subscription, which means that all of our transactions, let's call them, all of the data that is sent and received between OpenAI and Qualzy is effectively sat within a sandbox, a walled garden. So you don't need to worry that this is going to be going out into the public domain, that this is training a model. Everything is safe and secure. So we've got our topic areas. So I've built my first video, my first activity. I'm not going to show you the sort of how I actually build an activity. What I want to do though, after generating that sort of introduction activity, is a survey. So that first topic that it suggested, I want to come up with a survey for that. So let's actually ask the AI within the platform what sort of questions we could ask. So write a 10 question survey. You can see that down the bottom. I just posted in the questions, and so there you can see it has actually given me a 10 point survey. I could have been more specific, so I could have said I wanted it all to be open-ended questions, or I want it all to be close-ended questions, but actually that's a pretty good start, and I'm quite happy with that as a starting point. And from here, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to take you into the platform, and we're going to have a look at the output, and we're going to do the rest of this live. That was the canned bit, because that's the bit that's a little bit slower, and this is the fun stuff. So let me stop sharing my screen and reshare this screen, and hopefully you can see that we are in the Qualzy platform. I've got my introduction. I've got a whole series of videos here. I'm in as a moderator at the moment, so you can see that I've got some responses, and I'm particularly drawn to this handsome chappy down here in the bottom right hand corner, who recorded a video especially for this session. And what we're going to do is we're going to just go into the unread so that I can just focus on these 3 videos. What I'll do is I'll play this video. Hopefully it will work for you.
Hi, this is Paul, just recording a short introduction video for my ICG session at 1 p.m. today, and I'm excited to tell you about my Renault Zoe. We lease a small electric vehicle, a Renault Zoe, from Zen Auto, and it's a fantastic little car. In the summer, it does about 220 miles of range. In the winter, that decreases quite a lot, which is frustrating. So you're never quite sure how much range you're going to have when you get into the car, because it's very much temperature dependent. But it's a great little runabout car. I feel very virtuous when I'm driving it because it feels like it's having no impact on the environment. Access to charging is a massive problem. We actually have a home charger which does.
So I'm going to cut that off there. You get the gist of what I'm trying to say. So one of the ways that we really saw the benefit of implementing generative AI technology is in the moderation phase. You will have seen in here that I've already responded to some of these participants, but responding takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of brain time, a lot of energy, and we wanted to streamline that process for you. So you can see here that the system has actually generated some probes for me. It's actually given me some suggested thank yous. And firstly, I've got some generic thank you messages. So for example, thank you for sharing your experience with the Renault Zoe, Paul. Your insights on electric vehicles and their infrastructure are valuable for our research. So a nice way to welcome me to the team. But what if I wanted to probe and ask a little bit more? What would the AI come up with for us here? And if I click on tell me more, it's going to give me some suggestions. And what I'll do is I'll actually just zoom right in on there so that you can see these. So you can see that it's actually suggested me 5 questions that I might want to ask based on that transcription that's been automatically generated by the system. So in your opinion, what role should the government play in promoting and supporting the adoption of electric vehicles? Could you elaborate on the specific challenges you face with access to charging stations aside from having a home charger? What improvements would you like to see in the electric vehicle infrastructure to make it more convenient for users like yourself? You mentioned the range of your Renault Zoe decreases in the winter. How much does it typically decrease, and how does it affect your driving experience? It decreases massively, actually. And can you share your thoughts on the current leasing cost for electric vehicles and how they compare to traditional vehicles? Now, one of the things that you'll notice is we have not actually posted any of these. We do not plan on making this a fully automated system. We don't believe in it because we still believe that the role of the human moderator is essential in qualitative research. And so all we give you is the starting point. And so to select one of these, all I need to do is click on it. It will come into a dialog box. If I wanted to, I could edit it. I'm actually just going to add a smiley face there just to make that a little bit more engaging. And there it is. That post has been dealt with. Let's just click on these as well, and let's just post those. I'm happy with these suggested responses. And that is how easy it is to moderate from an AI perspective. Now, we also will suggest responses for a survey. So if I actually just have a look at the form here, you can see that I built this survey out. So based on the suggestions that AI gave me, it had a scale question, it had some single choice, there was some routing involved, and an open-ended question at the bottom. If I go to the unread question, this is actually my response here. So I wrote a very long-winded response about why chargers, about how the infrastructure of charging needs to be improved. And you can see again, even in there, it will give me some suggested responses based on a survey response. So really, really useful stuff. So let's have a look very quickly at what happens in the back end. Some of you will have seen this before because we've talked specifically about our video tools in the lunch and learn sessions before. But one of the things that AI enables us to do is to provide a summary. And if I just zoom in again, you can see a really nice executive summary of my video. So it says here, Paul is excited to talk about his Renault Zoe, an electric vehicle that he leases from Zen Auto. He loves driving it and feels virtuous because it has no impact on the environment. However, access to charging is a problem and the range decreases in the winter. He has a home charger and uses an overnight tariff from Optimising Energy, which makes it cost effective to charge the car. He thinks that the cost of leasing an electric vehicle offsets the savings from charging. Paul believes there's still a long way to go, and it's blah de blah. Now, one of the things that this also gives us, and I'm just trying to get this out, I can see all of this at the same time, but this will do. You will see here that it is actually suggesting some clips. So AI is generating its own suggestions here. So you can see, I'm going to click on here. I'm excited about the Renault Zoe. Let's see what that is.
I'm excited to tell you about my Renault Zoe.
My Renault Zoe is a fantastic little car, a little quest thing where I talk about the range decreasing in the winter. If I wanted to add one of those clips into a show reel, I could. So let's actually just add this clip here, and let's edit my chapters. Let's add a chapter on range. Let's call it range anxiety, and click save. And that is now in my clips down below, and I'll be able to use that for a show reel. Let's see what I said here. It's highlighted a negative statement here. Access to charging is a massive problem. And so let's just add that into a section as well. So let's just say, let's just call that range anxiety as well. And you can see that when you're dealing with multiple videos, it is incredibly useful to have these executive summaries when you're looking at 3, 4, 5, 10-minute videos. Now, obviously, it's very easy to then pull these across into our chapters and show reels, which means that I can just put this into here and I can download that for a client very easily so that they can view this as well. So I've shown you how we can moderate and what we can do with the videos. Let's just have a little look at the summarization of our survey responses as well. And you'll see here that if I click on, I'm in my data tools section here, you can see here that I've got my post on the right hand side. So this is my original survey. You can see that it's got all of that long text, and it has generated a really succinct summary taking into account all of the data points within that post. So it's formulated a summary based on survey responses and the open text. Again, it's suggesting bits that are of interest to me. So if I wanted, for example, I've got a clip here, I'd like to see improvements in charging infrastructure for electric cars. I could actually click to highlight that and say, yeah, okay, that's related to infrastructure. I want to keep that one. The importance of expansion, yeah, that's about infrastructure as well. Increase availability, the availability of charging structures, improve convenience. Okay, let's put that one into charging issues. And so you can see just very, very easily how I can go through all of my responses. I can quickly summarize. I can copy and paste this to put into a report for a client. At the moment, we're not offering summarization of multiple posts. We just don't think the technology is quite there yet, but that is coming from an API and development perspective. But all of this is available now. It is working now. Clients are using it. We're getting some brilliant feedback on the way that it speeds up the process. Tom Woodnut talks about it being the donkey work of research. This kind of, automatic coding, for example, if I take a step back, I can click across here and I can see every time I've mentioned car, I can click on these clips and it will show me every sentence where car is mentioned or where anybody mentions driving. This is all happening automatically for you. And with that, I'm going to stop and go for questions because I could talk about this all day. I could show you the playground more. I'll actually stop in the playground and then I'll just sort of show you. I came up with a thing of what I might like to ask you guys about the use of AI and market research. But I am going to reluctantly turn the questions back over to you guys, and let's have some great questions.
Thank you, Paul.
A pleasure.
So we haven't got any questions in the chat at the moment, but I guess just ask away, I think, is what we'll do. So
well, there is a hand there.
Yes, there's a hand. Sally.
Hi, Paul. That's fascinating. Very scary. I was just wondering, with the introduction of this, I mean, it may be early days still, but are you seeing more direct clients coming to you as a consequence of these tools being available, or is it still mainly market researchers like us?
I think there's a lot of talk about the sort of the democratization of research and end clients picking this up. We're not seeing it as yet. I think from my own experience, our platform has always made it very easy for end clients to theoretically come in and do research at scale with participants. What we have found is the researcher is still an integral part of the process. So I think, and we've run sort of various different test projects to kind of almost like using AI blindly to see how good a research project is if a non-trained researcher does this, and you see the difference. So I think researchers within brands are going to start using tools. They will start doing stuff, but I equally think whilst they may perceive that they can save money and time, I think ultimately all this, you still have to form your own conclusions, you still have to form your own hypotheses and really understand the nuances of humanity. So you know, AI is not going to accurately tell you how participants feel and, you know, pick out the edge cases from this. So at the moment, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of in terms of what end clients could do. I think if you can sell yourselves as experts of combining this mixed methodology, so using technology and your brains, which is the, you know, that's what you guys are getting paid the big bucks for. I think you guys are in a really strong position.
Okay, we've got a question from Jill. You've got your hand up, Jill.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Paul. Thanks. I'm actually running a panel in Qualzy next week, so I'm really excited to see whether or not this moderation and analysis kind of helps save time and see how it works. Just on a really practical point, the playground thing that you mentioned, how do you get access to that? Because I have my Qualzy account open in another screen and I can't actually see any of those things on my account.
You are absolutely right. You asked me. I am the gatekeeper, the key holder, the authority. So yeah, just ask me and I'll get it turned on for you. As soon as I finished here, I'll turn it on and you'll be able to access it. The reason that we've not just turned it on is that really we just want to we want our users to understand what it is that they're using and understand how to use it to get the best out of it before everybody goes in and sort of goes crazy with it.
Yeah. Does that apply to the moderation prompts and things as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I'll Jill, send me an email, or I'll send you an email after this, and we can chat about it.
Okay, thanks.
Barbara, you've got your hand up, and then Lindsay, Barbara and Lindsay.
Yeah. So really cool to see how fast you got this implemented in your platform. Very cool. I have two questions. One very pragmatic. Does this also work across languages?
Yeah.
Does it
Okay.
translate?
Yeah. Okay. So actually, this is almost at its best working across multiple languages. I should have turned this on, but for example, if you wanted to have a project that was run in English, but the client was in France, the client was French, what it would actually do is take it at a transcription level, and it would provide a summary in French based on the English transcription. So it isn't a sloppy translation of a summary. It's actually a completely fresh summary. So what we have found with we've done a few multi-market studies, is that where you've traditionally had a bit of a fail when it comes to automatic translation, because of the algorithmic nature of the generative text model, it understands what should have been said or should have been translated, and provides a really accurate summary in that language. So we actually stumbled across that as a happy accident, and then we realized that that was actually a great feature. Was there a second part of your question?
Well, the second part of the question is completely different, but I'm just curious about the technology behind it. Sort of, is it powered by GPT 3.5 or 4, and will that update in the future?
Yeah. Okay. So different aspects of the platform are powered by different parts of ChatGPT. So there are elements that are running on 3.5. There are elements that are running on 4. At the moment, that is really limited by speed. So OpenAI, ChatGPT 4 is exceptional at some stuff, but it's also very slow. So for example, our chat playground is in 3.5 because it's faster. So we're always looking at what are the best implementations. There's a new model of 3.5 that was literally launched in the API this morning. So, we're constantly sort of evaluating which the best model is for different parts of our platform.
Yeah. But when the models update, that means that you can be really quick to like implement it to the
Absolutely.
latest developed.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, we're basically following it kind of daily, and we're implementing stuff daily as well. So we're continually changing, evolving as we learn. Our first iteration of this, we got into the platform within about 2 or 3 weeks, and we've been sort of refining it ever since, trying to understand the way that this works, and understand the structure of prompting, and try and take out some of the confusion so that you guys don't have to think about how to engineer your probes, for example.
Yeah, nice. Thanks.
Pleasure.
Lindsay?
Yeah, thank you. Really, really interesting, and I agree it could take out a lot of work, so that's encouraging. Does this have the facility to be able to generate stuff in the style of, because I'm sure at some point we're going to just see so much stuff that comes from ChatGPT that people start to glaze over, and I think it's really hard sometimes to get these surveys to engage, and so if you can inject some sort of sense of personality into either the intro, which I'm sure will be generated quite standardly unless there is a facility to have different versions, or in the questions themselves, is there a core personality that you can imbue into them?
Yeah, absolutely. So within a client account, we have the ability to effectively alter all of the requests that we send to OpenAI. So in the same way that in ChatGPT, you could say, act as a comedian, you're able to completely tailor make your prompts. So for example, the probes, you could say, act as a funny and engaging market researcher who is particularly interested in ... And you can change all of that up, so that's entirely possible. Any more questions?
I can't see any more raised hands, but if you've got any other questions, we've got 3 minutes. Just ask them. Sally again.
Yeah, so have you got any idea, just anecdotally, what the likely time saving is going to be for researchers? I mean, are we talking about a few percentage, or are we talking about half the time it would normally take to set up and run one of these studies?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question.
Any feedback yet?
We actually have a sort of a white paper that we're going to be publishing in the next probably 2 days that will outline some of that. We've got, I think what we're finding, we've not specifically looked at like the quantifying of, okay, how much time saving are you getting on the moderation? I think there are certainly there are aspects of this that are quite hard from a, I guess from a, how we kind of measure, how long do you spend writing a guide, for example, how many revisions are there back and forwards with the client. So we certainly are going to publish what we know, what we've learned and picked up from clients. I think it will be, I suppose, as much as you're willing to engage with it and allow the system to sort of work on your behalf. I think there will be times where it won't be appropriate to use AI probes, for example. There'll be other times where it certainly is appropriate. That was a politician's answer.
Yeah. Can I ask another question while you're there? Where does the data in the sandbox sit, or where does the sandbox sit? Is it in the UK, EU, USA? What are the potential, particularly if you're dealing with a very sensitive topic, or for government clients, for example? What reassurances can you offer in terms of security?
Yes, so currently all OpenAI data is stored within their US-based servers. All of our data is held within, we've actually got 3 servers, so we've got UK, US and Australia. So as it stands at the moment, we are sort of ensuring that basically total security is there from a data privacy perspective. We expect OpenAI to release European-based servers at some point this year, so that it is purely held and contained within the EU. From a very commercially sensitive perspective, the steer that we have been given from our sort of legal advice is that the current approach is within GDPR because they are not retaining the data. And we're sort of monitoring and evaluating that regularly to make sure that sort of compliance is top of the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we've run out of time, Paul. But I guess you're open to receiving questions by email, is that right?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. If I just send an email to hello@qualzy.com and it will come through to me. And yeah, love to answer any more questions. Show you kind of in a more live capacity how this all works, and yeah, very much open to more questions.
Okay, so thank you so much for doing this session for us, Paul, and thank you to everybody for coming along to this lunch and learn. I'll circulate the recording and it'll be on our website as well. So thanks a lot and have a good day, everyone.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Bye.